LGBTQ hate crimes hit all-time high despite dramatic reduction of number of agencies reporting. Hate crimes in the United States remained at the same level in 2021 as they were in 2020. The FBI said,
you're frozen. I'm going to pick up for you.
Thank you. Said Monday, even as hate crimes based on, no, you have to pick up for me, Al.
Okay, let me pick up because we're having some technical problems. The FBI said Monday, even as hate crimes based on a person's sexual orientation increased. However, the FBI also said there was nearly 30% drop in police agencies that reported data in 2021 because of the new way the data was reported to the FBI, making it difficult to meaningfully compare 2021 statistics to years past. An FBI official said on a conference call with reporters in giving all of these facts. Some of the agencies that didn't report data were from bigger city agencies, but the FBI did not say which ones. The FBI said 64.8% of victims were targeted because of their offenders biased against race and ethnicity. 15.6% were targeted because of the offenders bias toward their sexual orientation, and 13% were targeted because of their religion. A senior FBI official told reporters on a conference call Monday, quote, "The bias groups of sexual orientation and disability showed increases in reported hate crime incidents and bias reported incidents of anti-Asian and anti-Native American or Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander also increased in 2021, as well as a number of non-juvenile offenders connected to reported hate crimes." To me, the most interesting, there's two really interesting facts in this new FBI report. First, we're at an all-time high, even with a 30% reduction in reporting, which means that the real numbers are really super significant. They're sky high in terms of their history. The other thing is the sexual and gender identity attacks. What you do is you look at the percentage of attacks of what the FBI is tracking versus percentage population. And in general, there's a 7% acceptance. That's general. It varies a little, but a 7% general acceptance of LGBT and especially LGB, but include the T also, in community. We represent 7% of American society. Human beings are 7% queer, gay, lesbian, trans. We are double the reporting in terms of hate crime. That's significant.
Yes,
because it means we're being discriminated against in terms of verbal and violent act twice the average of what should happen in community. And it's a very, very significant number. And then when you factor in the fact that 30% are not even reporting correctly, the number is really dramatic. That's the big news in this report.
God, those numbers, I mean, that's just really, it's interesting how like we're seeing progress. We have a president, a White House that supports our community, but then, what's going on in the country with people. And I know a lot of it probably just has to do with backlash, when there's so much progression for a particular group that happens, people get scared. They're like, wait a minute, we have to like rein it in now. Like we're giving these people too much.
I'm doing interviews all the time now where people are going, we made so much progress. We made so much progress. What's happening? Well, what's happening is for those that are out of power, that want to be in power and they want to take power and they want to have control and they want money, what do? They find the easiest marginalized group and then create a culture war against them. Who is that? Number one is trans. Number two is queer in general. Number three is religious minorities, which is why we see anti-Semitic rise. Those are easy targets to create culture war of theming, theming them. And that's what we're watching and why it's happening.
I don't know, you all may not agree with me, but I think the discrimination with like the Asian and like South Pacific Islander really happened with Trump and the whole China thing.
You didn't like the China virus?
That China. I used that. I used to get a kick out of him saying China, but I think that kind of like fueled, because a lot of the people you wouldn't necessarily know what country they're from, but they have like similar looks. So I really do believe that fueled that particular bias.
When I think about when you were saying backlash and you think about all the progress we made, I know a couple months ago, and I promise I'm not trying to brag, but I was sitting on standing girl.
Yeah, you can brag. You've earned it.
I was standing on the lawn of the White House at one of the events when they were honoring Elton John, and all I could think about was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. But we just had Transgender Day of Remembrance on November 20th, and we just had 44 predominantly Black trans women that were just killed. So when you're sitting there talking about these hate crimes, it's just, it really hits home for me. It just really hits home.
I can't agree with that more, but the issue around reporting, I think, is really interesting. And I think for the trans community, it has to be, of course, a whole other level. If you're attacked, but your law enforcement agencies also don't respect you, how are you going to go there and be a sympathetic victim or feel comfortable even reporting your crime when your own community doesn't support you? So, underreporting, it can be underreported by 50% for all we know, because if you're like, well, those police, they're arresting me as sex workers, they're doing all of these things against my community, why would I go there when I'm attacked? How is that a safe place for you to get help?
And I'm a living example of that, because I was brutally beaten up some years ago, and I was too scared to call the police because I was fearful that I was going to be re-victimized by them.
There is, I'm not going to mention her name, but there was a trans woman that lived in Wilton Manors that was very influential. She sold houses, and she had called me and told me that she had been brutally raped in Wilton Manors in her home, and was scared to call the community, scared to call the police. And she's no longer here with us. She ended up committing suicide.
Oh, that's tragic.
And it just really touches my heart when I think about things like that.
Part of the problem is that there's 30 to 40% of our population that lives in an information bubble that is constantly getting the message reinforced to them that LGBTQ people, particularly trans and drag performers, are evil, are menaces, groomers. And when you convince someone that a person or a group of people are evil, that they are an enemy, it allows you as the receiver of that information to justify doing any kind of evil and atrocity. And I will say, the wise philosopher Yoda said it best, that
You're quoting Star Wars.
I'm quoting Star Wars, that fear leads to anger, anger leads to hatred, and hatred leads to suffering.
That's absolutely true.
And we're seeing that play out.
I'm a Star Trek guy, but it's a good quote too.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.